With all the craziness in this world, we are here to have open and honest conversations to help navigate our thoughts.
Sometimes we are right and sometimes we're wrong. But in the end, if we aren't learning, we aren't living.
This is Phillip.
And this is Wes.
And we are
Two Bottles Deep. Well, it has been a couple weeks.
Oh, hello, Wes.
Hi, Phil.
How
Wow, it is good to see you on the big screen.
Good to see you too, babe. It's been a while.
I was driving
Have you
over
grown?
here.
Are you taller?
I'm
There
sitting
you
on
are.
3 books today. The old cameraman got it right. I was on the way over here and I'm like, how do I get there? I had not forgotten, but I was like so excited to see you.
I know. It's been it's been several weeks.
It's been a few weeks.
How you been? What's new?
Oh my God. I went on a date last night.
Oh gosh. Do I know him? Did I talk to him on Tinder?
You actually know him really well, which is
Give me a hint.
Gorgeous blue eyes,
Oh.
blonde hair.
That wouldn't be the type I'd go for.
Very athletic.
Ooh.
He's a college bowler.
Oh God.
I went on a date with myself.
Oh, you described yourself differently than I would have. A date on your set. Oh, did you dress up? Did you?
Jokes. Oh no, I had like jeans and a black shirt on, which is
that's your normal.
what I'm wearing
I
today.
say it looks familiar.
I love black. I deleted the apps. All the apps are gone.
How many days? 3.
3.
I love how we brag about it too. I'll be like, I am no longer on Tinder. I got rid of it this morning. Well, good. So you deleted the apps.
My friend Jamie was doing a writer's round at the listening room. You know, the listening room.
I do.
Well. And it's one of the greatest shows you can see here in Nashville. You know what artists are going to be there, but sometimes you don't know who they are. You don't know what they wrote.
Yeah.
Whatever. They may have a hit song by Tim McGraw. You don't know them. And that's the fun part, is like you get to meet new people. So I sat at like a high top by the bar, and then this guy walks up and sat with me. And he's like, do you mind if I take this seat? I said, no, go ahead, dude. And
you're like, I'm on a date, but
rude. And I'm sitting there before the show starts, and he is like, yeah, I flew in from Philly. I'm here. My buddy's on the show. And I'm like, my friend's on the show. So he was here by himself to see his buddy, Matt Lloyd, I think is his name. And my friend was Jamie Floyd. So it was kind of fun. And then Chrissy Metz from the TV show This Is Us was on stage. And I never saw an episode of This Is Us. I only knew her from like the Kelly Clarkson show. And she made her Grand Ole Opry debut a couple years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, she's great on that show. This Is Us. It's a very powerful show.
And she has a book called This Is Me. Oh. And it talks about her dad. It talks about her divorce. It talks about her being on the show and how she has like really thin siblings and how they were going to be models. And then she got this huge role, the biggest of the family. So, yeah, it was so sweet to meet her. And she's just so kind. And that's the epitome of what you want a celebrity to
yeah,
be,
for sure.
You know?
Well, it was a good day then. Would you go out with that person again?
He is.
Did you block him?
Oh, the conversation we had back and forth was phenomenal.
Riveting.
Oh, we sang in the car on the way over.
Oh,
yeah.
Slept together?
Yeah. No, we didn't. No, gonna hold out. Christianity at work. Putting that into play again.
Is that how that works?
I probably don't know that part of the Bible.
Yeah, or the Bible.
Abstinence in the Bible?
Abstinence? Did you say abstinence?
I don't know. Anyway, it was a great date.
So you're doing abstinence.
I'm doing absinthe.
Absinthe.
So,
that's not
that is a drink.
It's I don't know if it's a drink, it's a flavor profile, I know, but you can have absinthe in a drink.
You can.
Yeah. It's like, isn't that the licorice flavor?
I never did that. I was always scared because I thought it was a drug, but it's not because they did it at bars.
Yeah.
Well,
we're doing absinthe at the end of the bar, guys. Work your way down there.
What have you been up to?
Oh, I did manage to scare a man on a plane. I as you know, one of my superpowers is to fall asleep immediately when the plane. I usually will fall asleep before, like when they're like, prepare the cabin for takeoff. I'm usually, that's maybe the last words I hear. And I can sleep through takeoff. I sleep through turbulence. I mean, the plane could have been hijacked at this point. No concept. Hour and 44-minute flight. You know, when you sleep so hard, you don't know how long you've been asleep. So it could be an hour. It could be 2 days. You don't know.
Yeah.
So when we land, it must have hit kind of hard. And I've done this before. And my brain interpreted it as us hitting a mountain or something, just full on crash. And you can just imagine sitting next to me on the plane. And then as it hits, I go, ah! And the guy beside me threw his drink and like leans over away from me. And he goes, what the hell is wrong with you? And all I could think of was, I said, I'm sorry, I thought we hit a mountain. And he goes, what? I was like, yeah, I was sleeping. And he goes, I know. I had to put on my noise canceling headphones. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was snoring louder than a 747. Like, how bad is my snoring?
Oh, yeah.
So I had a great flight, but I want to apologize to the gentleman in 14. He was an ABC.
Hey, hopefully he's a new listener now.
I doubt it. He was very angry with me. And I saw him texting about me. I was like, leaning over. I'm going to be like, you misspelled my name.
2 L's.
Right. But I wish I wouldn't do that. I do that a lot. And also, I think I've told you when I fall asleep, 2 seconds before I fall asleep, I make a whale noise.
Yeah. I remember.
You got to warn the boys about that one. So right before we goes off, it will sound like an orca fight. But
is it like a yawn?
No, babe. But it's like my introduction to the netherworld or something. I'm just like, I'm almost there. Calling all dreams.
What if he did that too? What if you find
and then we just record?
Like,
we could sell it for like meditation apps.
It's like her orcas out front.
The whales. It's just me sleeping. So anyway, if you ever sleep with me, listeners, just be prepared. We're going to get to hear a whale right before I go to sleep.
Speaking of a whale, I had a whale of a time at the Greenway. You know, I go to the Greenway.
Yeah, you only post the same picture of the tree.
It is different pictures.
You're like, good morning. I'm walking. What are you doing?
I want to get people motivated. I want to spread joy. Sometimes there's deer frolicking around. And I've sent you a picture of a deer. Remember that one?
Yeah.
You weren't impressed?
Well, I don't know how to respond anymore. Just like, yep. It's the same thing like with Jason's memes he sends. I'm like, can we just do a ha-ha for the year? I don't want to keep saying ha-ha every time you send me something funny.
Yeah, so, I try to.
It's a deer.
I mean, that trail is 8 miles if you go down and back. So I try to find a different angle, and it's along the river. So sometimes there's water involved.
Do you keep these pictures? Like, are they on or do you just delete them?
I'm trying to figure out how to do a reel. I've done a couple reels, and they're not successful at all.
700 pictures of trees.
I am 42 and still have no clue. That's my thing I'm a TikTok user now.
Oh,
West.Nashville.
Interesting. Oh, there he goes. Plug it.
There's nothing on there other than a picture. So I don't know how to do. I don't know how to do all that stuff. But after the trail, I was listening to a podcast. It was like a bunch of soccer moms talking how rough their lives are.
Oh,
being married, and then one is single.
Is this the one I like? This is not the one.
No, not the two ladies.
Yeah.
Oh, I love.
I've had it with.
They're on tour now. We should go see them.
I would love to.
I was listening to this show, and this one was single, and she was talking about the greatness of singleness, or singlehood is what she called it. So that was my kind of idea for today's topic, was really the gift of being single. And no joke, I went to a coffee shop called Ugly Mugs
here in East Nashville.
Oh, it's so good. And I'm going to change her name because I don't know if she wants her name on here, but I ran into my friend Heather. And
you look to see, it's so different.
It's so different than her. She doesn't listen. It's fine.
Her name is Heather. We'll call her Heather.
It starts with an H.
Got it.
Heather.
Got it. We don't need it.
But we were sitting there talking, and her and I have a working relationship. She's in real estate as well, and I've known her since 2017, but I haven't known anything about her. So we sat there for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, and just talked, had coffee, and just chatted. We were talking about singleness or whatever, but she had met her boyfriend. She was online dating for a few years, and it was just kind of what we're going through and what we've been talking about on the last few episodes. And she said something to me, and she's like, I wanted to be okay with myself before I start dating again. And she's now been with a guy for over 2 years. But in the beginning, she told him no, because they were friends of friends. So they met like the old fashioned way, and they courted.
Ooh.
And I won't tell her whole story. I did invite her on to tell the story. She's thinking about it. But it just got me thinking that, I was out on the Greenway, and I'm like, okay, that was the first day. I'm like, why am I chatting with people on apps? Nothing has come of it in quite a while. And then I get to the coffee shop, and there Haley is working. I interrupted her, and then we talked for an hour.
You just said her name, by the way.
Oh my God. Can we edit that out? Oh my God.
Not on video.
Not on video. Anyway, so she doesn't listen. So anyway, Heather was so I was just like in this mind of why am I focused on dating when I want to be good with myself? So Heather,
whatever your name is.
I wanted to talk to you about that. And we've talked about online datings, pride, like all of this stuff in the past, but I wanted to get your mind. I'm like, where's Phillip at with this?
Yeah, I do think about it a lot, and I go back and forth. Honestly, there are weeks where I am very interested in a relationship, and sometimes it's selfish. Like I don't have anybody to hang out with. Oh, I do, but like somebody to go out with and make out with and go on a date with. I love going on dates. I think romantic dates are so fun. I love planning them. Maybe I should date myself. That sounds good, actually. But then there's times where I really do enjoy the friendships that I have and the freedom that I have to live my single life. So
yeah,
I'm not in either camp right now. I feel like there's two camps, and I'm just running back and forth between the two. I'm at a point now after a recent trip where I'm really good. I feel really good about being single, but I don't want to get too comfortable. That makes sense?
Oh,
like I don't want to just sit in singleness and be
what's your fear of getting too comfortable?
Is that I won't try. And I talk to patients all day long. I'm always asking them random questions. And I always ask the single ones, like, why aren't you dating? And the answers are pretty consistent. It's too much work. You don't know who you're going to get. You don't know if the person's being honest. All of those are very valid. But the too much work thing to me is really frustrating, because it's like, well, aren't you putting work into work, and you put your efforts into things that you want, right?
Yeah.
So I want a relationship, so I need to put my efforts into it. But I also do agree with you. I think you've got to celebrate your singleness,
right?
And not like a anti-relationship, get out of it. More of a, if it's not working right now, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and it might be the right person, just the wrong time.
I think that's a lot of the time.
That's
the problem with apps, right? It's like you match with somebody, and then they're all go for 3 days, and you're like, this is going so well, and then they disappear.
Well, and you do that over and over, and the definition of insanity is not doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results.
Yeah.
Right. But that's introspection. That's the examination of your thoughts and your feelings. I think I would like to say COVID taught me to sit alone, but I'm not. We've had this conversation before that you said you're not good alone. You got to be busy, busy, busy. And I'm like, I'm good alone, but I'm not.
Yeah.
As I sat with this and go through therapy and even research, topics for a show like this, I'm like, I want that person. I love going places by myself. You are much braver than, you've gone abroad by yourself. Yeah. I go to the movies by myself.
But it's a step's a step, right? Like that's still a good, that's nothing wrong with that. There's not a hierarchy of who does it best by themselves. But I think you taking yourself out on a date to something that you truly enjoy, it opens you up to meeting lots of people. You'll remember this. You'll remember that date for a long time. I think that's really special. And what would I've normally have done? Come home, had a glass of wine, got on a Tinder and tried to watch Big Brother. Like that's not a good use of my time. So kudos to you for dating yourself.
Well, and how do you feel when like you come home from work, it's a Friday, you have like really nothing to do that night. You're like, I can just like check out of the world and from work and from friends and family and just look at a TV for a couple hours before you go to bed. Like I would have been at happy hour at 5:30. I'd have been getting home at midnight or going through like McDonald's, then getting home at midnight and then getting up for brunch the next day. I'm at a place where it's so great to just be like, oh my God, it's Friday night and I'm gonna chill.
Well, but that doesn't necessarily, that's not, I mean, yes, that's a good thing, but for me, that sounds awful. Not awful. I need, for me, being single is trying to do as many things as I can to invest in my relationships with friends and myself. But for me, investing in myself, I do not do well sitting on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot focus. I have my phone open. I've got the computer going. I'm like, I'll edit a part of the podcast. And then I'm on like Southwest trying to see if there's any good deals based on a picture that I saw on the television. Like I just can't. One track mind is really hard for me. So I like that you can do that. I wish I could go home and watch 2 hours of TV, but I get nervous.
I'll scroll a little bit, but that's there's Dopamine Nation. I'm reading that book, and it's really, it compares drug addiction and sex addiction and gambling addictions to addictions to our phone. And it's this, and especially with our phone, it's a repetitive feature. So all these studies go back with Pavlov and the dogs ringing the bell. And so it's all this, this learned behavior. But we do get a lot of emails, whether it be mailbag or just a DM on something saying, I love my single life. But then we also get those DMs that say, I hate my single life. So that's why I wanted to talk through the societal pressures. I mean, what gets me, and I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but my parents been married 40 something years. We lived in our last house over 30 something years. And it's like, okay, and here I am. I don't have that. So I compare to that.
Sure.
And there will be times where you mentally walk yourself out of that and be like, okay, well, that's their life. My life is great, but it doesn't have to align with them. But still, sometimes there's like, okay, I wish I had a partner because now I'll never be married 47 years. Right. Unless I live to be like 97.
Possible.
Then, possible. But I'm like, why? Because even when I was younger and thought I was straight, I always wanted that 50, 60, 70-year marriage but then like now that you're like in life and out and doing things and accept who you are, I'm like, this is my life. It's a great life. And these articles I'm reading about great ways to date yourself and being single it's just so refreshing. I'm glad that resource is out there.
All right, here's a good question for you before we dive too much into the beauties of being single. So hypothetical, let's say I could guarantee you in 6 months that your lover, who you will be with for the rest of your life, all this is hypothetical, of course, you're going to be 100% in love. You don't have to do anything ahead of time. It's just going to happen 6 months from now. What will you do for the next 6 months in preparation for the love of your life?
You are so good at questions. This is amazing.
I wonder because it's like I spend a lot of time doing things that don't help make me better. It's fun. Like I'll go out and drink with friends but I'm not doing a ton of like self work.
You almost want that bachelor party. It's like in my head, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? Maybe I'll do like 20 setups a day. And then I'll do then I'll read.
So what do you think? What are some major goals? 6 months, the hottest man you've ever met, you're absolutely going to be in love with him. And don't worry about physical because I know you immediately tried to fix the way you're sitting. He doesn't care what you look like. He doesn't care. Don't think about how you're going to fix your physical body. What are you going to do for 6 months to get ready?
First thing, I'm going to finish a book I've started. I've started like 8 books right now, but it's the gay man's guide to open relationships versus monogamous relationships.
Okay.
Very interesting read. It shows both sides of the coin there. I would finish that. A lot of self-work.
What does that
therapy.
mean, though? What do you want to work on?
Being good with myself.
Okay.
Well, the first thing, it would be the physical part.
All right, but let's say I could
can't.
magically make you whatever hotness you want to be. Okay.
Okay.
So what do you want to work on for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
You think about it, because I know I put you on the spot.
No, I have fear of commitment, so I want to work on the commitment issues.
All right, so some
also
therapy for
flying in planes. I hate flying in planes.
All right, so those things. I think it's an interesting question, because, like, if I knew that I was going to be with somebody for the rest of my life, then you've only got 6 months of, like, really getting out there and exploring, right? I don't mean sexually even, but, like, for me, it's like, I want to try some stuff I've never tried before and just see if I enjoy it. New hobbies, new this, because I don't know if I'll do them as much. So I think it's a good way to look at our lives. For me, it's like, I don't want to sit around mad that I don't have somebody. I need to be working on the fact that I could get myself ready for me, and that's going to make me good for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. But if he is coming into your life, what do you need to fix?
Well,
if he accepts you the way you are, then it's like, yeah, you want to. And again, this is great. What is wholesome? If I want to be whole, what is that? What does that mean?
Well, let's say he does accept me for who I am, but I'm not okay with. I want to be good with being by myself. I want to be good with comparing myself to other people. I want to be better at that. I want to quit ranking things that I want to do based on how fun I think they are, and, like, choosing, like, I'm going to go do this because it's going to be more fun, but it might be more meaningful to somebody else if I spent time with them, but this is more fun. So I'm going to choose that. Like, I do a bad job of, like, prioritizing fun over meaningful connections. And I think if I were getting ready for my love of my life, I need to do better at that. So that's what I would work on.
Balance is a tricky thing. And so many things when you read about singleness, the even great relationships bring a lot of, whether it be baggage or just a lot of mental anxiety, mental stress, even if it's a good relationship, because if you have to go to the in-laws or you have to take a work trip that he's going on. So I think, I don't know. Yeah, those are like really good introspective.
Yeah.
What do you want to work on? You know, if you're going to have someone with you the rest of your life, because right now we have the freedom to do literally whatever we want to do. And I'm not a big chaos person. Like, I want to stay out of people's way. And when people get in my way, whether it's traffic or in the airport, like, it kind of irritates me because I don't like to disrupt other people. So I do spend a lot of time alone. So that'd be one thing that I definitely have to work on, is the socializing more. And I've never had in-laws. I've never had, stuff like that. I'm like, I would have to be okay with that and learn how to.
And what do you think what you would do would be different if you were like, God was like, you are going to be single for the rest of your life. And that's not sexually. Don't think about the sex part, but, like, how would you change the way you act now if you knew there was no way you were ever going to be in a relationship?
I don't think it would change. I've been doing a lot of the therapy and self-work assuming I was going to be single. So I think if a guy would come into it, I'm really trying to be as wholesome and love myself, because there's a lot of times when we don't love ourselves. And again, take the physical part out, because that's the number one thing we're hardest on ourselves at. But I don't love that I don't have as much control over, all the work apps I have to use. Right. And then there's 15 work apps, and then you have an app for fitness, and you have an app for your gym, and then you have an app for literally everything. I just want to be in a good place to where I have good time management and a great quality of life, because I'm a workaholic. I love to work, but then guess what that does? That just pushes all your problems aside. So that's what I've been working on, either way, man or no man.
Yeah. I think for me, it would just take away a little bit of anxiety. I'd keep doing the same stuff, but I wouldn't be. I in the back of my mind, I'm always like, am I going to always be alone at Christmas? And it's not. It sounds like a pity party, and I mention it a lot, but it is just something that I think about. But if I knew for sure that it wouldn't happen, I guess I could choose that. But if I knew for sure it wouldn't happen, I think I'd be a little bit more carefree, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and we won't probably have answers for it, but I think, as people listen, whether they're driving or at work, it's like going to spawn that, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
Or what can I work on? And it's about working on little things throughout the year and not, all right, I have to fix, 12 things in 6 months.
Right.
That'd be tough.
Do you get, like, being single, when I see couples that are, in love and huggy bear kissy face, I don't have a negative reaction anymore.
Oh,
I used to be like, oh, get a room.
wait, let me throw you a bone here. What if it's an ex? What if it's an ex and they found love and you have not found love?
It already has happened. My ex of 15 years is in love and living in Chicago. And it took me years to get to the point where I truly was happy for him. I would say to him, I'm happy for you, but come home and like go through the, Facebook pictures and be like, wow.
Oh, so you were spending your time looking at what he was doing.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. I think everybody does that.
What if you were happy? Would you have been happier for him if you were in a relationship sooner or at the same time?
The only reason it's hard to answer, like, I wouldn't be the person I am if he hadn't left me. So I'm eternally grateful for the fact that he did it. And it wasn't his fault. This is not a blame. I've said it before. We were equally responsible. So no blame to him. He just had the balls to leave. And I didn't. I would have stayed there.
The Band-Aid, huh?
Yeah. And so
okay.
I thought at that point, singleness was a curse. I was like, he's left me. I'm alone. I've got to fight to find somebody else. And I'm really trying now to look at it as being single is a gift. And then maybe at some point, someone will come into my life that I can be with. And if not, I'm going to be the happiest fucking single person.
Yeah.
People be like, I don't know why he's so happy. He doesn't have anybody. That's what I want. I want people, why is he so happy?
Well, why is that what society tells us? Because society tells us that you have to be coupled, and society tells us a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I love how that's like a goal. Like, you want to be happy, but everybody, like, their mind goes to, but he's single.
Mm-hmm.
He lives alone, or he has a roommate.
But maybe it doesn't. Yeah. But do we put that? Do we assume that they're thinking that? I always used to think Mom felt bad for me. She's never said it. Never said that she feels bad for me for this. I assume that she feels bad for me that I'm alone.
Self-imposed. Yeah.
And then why am I taking that on myself? Yeah. She's never said it. I'm just like, she must feel awful for me. And it's probably not true at all. But I don't know. I think being happy for your friends in their relationships is it's helpful for us.
Right.
Because any negativity that we bring in to our own life, like, oh, they're so in love. It's so annoying to see them make out all the time. Like, what is that? That's just more negativity for you to have to deal with. So I really focus on being grateful that my friends have found somebody and they're happy and work. And even if it's not perfect, none of my relationships with my friends that they're in are perfect. They all have problems.
Absolutely.
And they come to me with it. And then I'm like, I don't have to deal with that. You're going to have to sleep alone tonight? Oh, I'll tell you how that works.
Pros and cons list, right?
Yeah.
But I will say, I read where they say confidence levels rise when one becomes single. How do you feel about that? Because that did not happen for me. Well, it took I'm still working on the confident part.
Yeah, I think that's the point. For me too, I wasn't confident at first. I mean, even after my most recent one that ended, it put me in a place that I was not confident. And some of it was self-imposed and stuff I needed to work on. And I'm grateful for that experience because I took a lot from it. But I can present very confident. And sometimes I do that as like a shield to keep people from thinking that I can be run over or I can be taken advantage of. But I'm not confident all the time. And my biggest fears are being alone. I've said that. And I said that at the beginning of last year, maybe at the beginning of this season, just terrified of being alone.
Yeah.
And it sounds sad, I guess, but I am. But I don't want to be. I don't want to be terrified of that.
Solitude breeds self-reflection. and self-reflection breeds confidence.
Solitude.
What I once read.
Brings self-reflection. Is it on the notes?
So self-reflection and self-reflection breeds confidence.
Yeah.
And as you sit in that, because I thought I was great alone, but it was this over masculinized, I don't need a man. And it was all in my head. And I'm like, you do, I mean, I don't, but it's like, yeah, I was always much happier in a relationship. And I was never happy for an ex if I wasn't in a relationship.
Yeah. Right.
Insert evil laugh. I mean,
and then as soon as you're in a relationship, you text them. You're like, I'm so happy for you.
I love that you're engaged and about to get married.
The fact that, right, even though he's so much hotter than me, and I just love that. And then when you get broken up with, you're like, block, hate him. He ruined my life.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a normal feeling, and I don't know. To me, that's I want to normalize that. I don't think I'm the only one, but it depends on what happens in a relationship. If it was kind of a mutual thing, it might be a little bit easier to be friends.
Yeah.
I had an ex reach out recently, and he's like, I miss you. I want to be friends, but I know your rule about being friends with exes. And I'm not to that point yet. He's an amazing person with an amazing family, and I'm just not at that point. You think the way it ended, I would be, but I'm just not. And go ahead.
Yeah, if you need to finish that, because I was going to go off on another little question.
Well, I was just going to say, when talking about being happy for people, our friends, they've been posting about it, so I'll say it. Bobby and Eric have adopted a baby, and I have had a couple DMs like, would you want that? I'm like, no, I do not want kids. And that's a prime example of like being so happy for a couple who has literally fought tooth and nail with adoption agencies in so many states, and just they're amazing humans. And I know their relationship isn't perfect, but like you, Phillip, whenever I'm around them, they are just amazing humans. Yeah. And sometimes it's okay to hide stuff. And I think we're all close enough we could say, hey, it's a bad day, I'm not going to brunch, or hey, I'll fill you in later. Yeah. Without it being too like poor me type of wallowing in that in front of your friends. And Bobby and Eric do that so well. They the way they parent and the way you present yourself too. I'm like, oh yeah, Phillip's always happy, but we all know that we're not always happy. Yeah. But for them, even in our text chain, everybody was so like excited for them. And that's what you want to see. You want to be at a good place in your life where you want to be genuinely happy for literally everyone else.
And you can be, those aren't mutually exclusive. You can be genuinely happy for somebody, but still not be happy for yourself. Right. That's, I've been there where it's like, oh, I'm really happy for you. Sure wish I had that, that kind of thing. But, I just love seeing the pictures that they post. It's just, so it's really amazing. So what I was going to say is, you and I have put a lot of effort in our lives into finding relationships. We work on it, right? You and I have spent hours on apps, hours.
Yeah.
Right. But then you get single, and are we working that hard on being single? And not like staying single, but like if we put all the energy from the apps and from the dates and the money we spend and throughout our life, if we put all of that towards working on ourselves, then maybe we'd have a damn date, because we would be, we'd be, like you said, whole and happy. And so that's really what I'm trying to work on, is not putting the energy towards finding a date. People are always like, just give it when you least expect it. I'm like, I haven't expected it now for an hour. Nothing's happening.
When?
Is there a knock at the door?
Expect it?
Oh no, that's the maintenance man.
Putting yourself out there is not only just an app. And you said it earlier before we started today. There's a high percentage that you will meet someone online. Yeah. So play the game. It's a numbers game, like any business or anything. It's a numbers game. You got to put yourself out there. But working on yourself, like the last date I went on last week.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about this one.
Oh, you have not.
Tell us.
And I want to respect him if he chooses to listen, because he knows there's a podcast. I would be heartbroken if I made him feel bad. But I'm just going to say the honest truth. That guy was so negative. like I just don't think he was in a good place in his life to be here. It was a crowded place. He was pissed off, and I'm like, if there's a line, I'll people watch. Like, let's have fun. And it just was that was kind of the impetus as well, to just be like, you know what? Let's work on me. I'm loving pickleball. I'm going to play twice next weekend, and it's supposed to be like 110. Like, I have dreams about pickleball. Like, why aren't I out there joining different pickleball leagues?
Yeah.
It's active. I want to be more fit. Correct. Better than I already am. But I do, I love bowling. I love hiking. I love, obviously, walking the trail. And it's like those activities that you could do. I remember in college, my grades were suffering. And I said, I'm going to replace a couple hours of party time to go to the library. And those 2 hours, it was like a day, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it was. My grades like went up so much. So instead of an hour on an app, go get my booty on a treadmill. Why not? Or go lift something. Do something that's going to be positive, and then your endorphins are going, and then all the neuro things. I'm reading another book about big words that I can't explain, that it's like neurons and stuff.
Sounds like you're really processing it well.
Yeah, it's great. And but I'm just like, oh, that does that. You're like, when you work out, and it's like all this positive stuff. And when you deal with depression and singleness and all that, like, that's just, humans have that. Like, we are pre-wired to have those negative thoughts. It's what you do with those. And we're all alike in that. So it's really those activities of, go get a reflexology thing. There's free calming apps on like YouTube or on the app. I do this breathing activity at night where I like, instead of like counting, which I just breathe.
Oh, so you're just doing what you normally do. You're just breathing.
Phillip, check this out. Okay. If you breathe at night, and here's what I do. So I envision the breath going in my lungs down to my toes, and then back out when I exhale.
Okay. Are you doing that with your hands while you're?
No. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, my hands are all over the place.
Wes is doing this fanning motion with his hands.
So then the next time the air goes down to my ankles and then back out. And then next time it goes to like what's between your knee and your ankle? Shin bone. Shin. So I do that, and I just work. But literally, I have fallen asleep so fast. Like, I have never.
You ever gotten to the knee?
No, I don't. The knee or the hip? I don't know, or like the femur. So I think it's so great to do. Turn on YouTube and a spa music, and it's just so. We think we have to get a trainer and go here and go to all these classes. Some of it could just be so simple.
I do something to help me fall asleep that has worked consistently for the last few weeks. It's almost like nesting. Get the bed ready, right? You get the pillows in the right spot, and I've decided I sleep like an Egyptian king in a tomb. Pillow. I've got 2 pillows. Wes, I look like a burn victim, like about to be treated. I've got my arms supported. I've got a body pillow under my legs. And
oh my God, that's amazing.
I get it all. So it's all set up. And then when it's time for bed, I open a bottle of melatonin. I take a 5 milligram, and then I get in bed and I put on my, it's usually nature sounds or whale sounds. And that's probably where I learned it. And I just kind of sit, and same thing. I'll be like, I start doing like, you've had a good day today. You really, I rarely get one sentence out, and then I wake up 8 hours later. So
that is so amazing.
But I feel rested. So.
Yeah. Well, and if you meet someone, they cannot mess up the feng shui you have going in there.
No, you're going to sleep on the floor.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
You get like a twin bed by the window.
You can curl up under my legs. You can be my body pillow.
That's perfect. That would be great for
nice
them.
Of me?
That's so sweet of you. I have gotten to where I like being like propped up and stuff, and like the arms.
Like it's almost like a recliner.
I've never done like everything else, but yeah, you're kind of body positioned in there.
Yeah.
Like,
the problem is when it's time to turn, I've got to get 2 assistants to help me with the pillows, because then I need pillows between my knees. I need an arm.
You're like, Marie,
come here. So Lena's like, who do you keep talking to in the middle of the night? Get in here, get my pillows.
right before the whale sound,
Right.
she hears you talking to someone.
I told her when she moved in, I said, she said, anything I didn't know about you? I was like, yeah, there's a lot you need to know about me. One thing is, if you hear noises coming from my bedroom that sound like a whale, it is me. That means I'm sleeping. Do not bother me.
Speaking of Elena, Stacia was out of town and I got to fill in for their pickleball match.
I heard about
and
that.
We won.
Thank goodness she was there.
Well,
that's
no,
what she said.
The other team forfeited. Oh. So we won.
She said she did great.
She did really good. Elena is like competitive. She's like, if I yell at you, just roll with it. Like,
she's competitive. She will race. We'll get home from somewhere and she will race me up the stairs. I'm like, we're just going to the same place. She'd be in a bedroom. I won. What do you mean you won?
I love it. Well, and that leads some of the greatest things that have been blessings, especially my time in Chicago, Austin, and here are friendships.
Mm-hmm.
My family's far away, and it's those friendships, and it's just being connected and doing the stuff we get to do, whether it's once a month or once a week now. That's just such a nice,
it is
airy. It's just we laugh and we have a good time, or we're there for each other when we need to be.
It's so true. And that's why I think kind of one of the things my therapist has me working on is he's always saying, Phillip, shift your mindset. Like, just change the way you think about something. And so we can do the same thing about being single. Like, if you see being single as a gift, as something that not that you want, but that you're happy to have, then it kind of alters the way you approach your life. You're not so upset in situations, you're not spending time trying to find a date on Tinder, and you don't get mad if you're the only single person at a dinner party. It's still a great experience. But guess what we get to do as single people?
What do we get to do,
Phil? Anything we want.
Flexibility. Yeah.
Yes, very. I thought you meant like stretching.
No.
Oh, you mean the ability.
Like,
okay.
I can be like, Phillip, what are you doing in 25 minutes?
Yeah.
And there you go.
Flexibility. You can do a new hobby. You can sleep in if you want to. And the other thing I thought about, I often change the way I eat when I'm with somebody. Like, you kind of go into their eating habits some. Like, maybe they're different and maybe not bad, but like maybe you eat more pasta. Like, there's certain things that I want to eat, and I can eat those anytime I want because I'm single.
Oh, you can. You can make whatever. You had mentioned a dinner party too. After this last bad date, like, you want to be that fun person that's like, God, we want him back.
Yeah.
Like, we would love to have that reputation, a really good reputation of that, of just people want you there. And I think that's so important, to be at a party and not have to conform if everybody is coupled, or you're at a barbecue and everybody's coupled. It was hard walking into church when I went over to Cross Point, like, single every week. That was a mental thing of like, I had to force myself to go. But then there were so many single people there. It was all self-imposed. Like, they didn't care. And that's just what our last episode, or a couple episodes ago, was 127 million single people. Now people are getting married in their 40s and 50s. And it's like, this is your life. Practice the gratitude, be active, do things you want to do. And that's going to attract people, rather than, it's kind of like having a job interview and you're interviewing someone and they talk bad about their previous boss. No go. So if there's ever a guy talking bad about his ex, like, you gotta stop it right there. Just be full of gratitude. I'm thankful for even bad situations I've been in.
Sure.
I'm very thankful for that. And that's that mindfulness that you just kind of have. And all of this seems so simple, but there's so many podcasts on it. Like, entire podcasts are just about relationships.
Yeah.
I like how we mix it up, because no one wants to hear me give relationship advice.
Same.
Week in and week out.
But what does Wes say about that?
Yeah. Let's see what solitude quote he has today.
I think what I need to do is, when people ask me, are you dating anybody? The answer, I usually give like a slight, I don't know if it's negative, but like, no, dating's hard. Like, there's always these little disclaimers that like help them feel better about the fact that I've tried hard. I'm just going to be like, absolutely not. I'm not dating. I'm not trying to date. I'm so happy being single. Like, you got to speak it into existence. And then maybe they'll be like, okay,
yeah,
let's date. And then I'll date them.
That's a good exercise. I've never thought how to answer that.
When people say to you, Wes, you dating anybody?
I wouldn't. And, or it's that just doing me, you know, like it's
living my life's
turn.
journey.
Yeah. Live
life, love.
Living the dream is what I always say.
Yeah, but people don't really care.
But you also I what you just said, if I was interested in you and I overheard you say it at a party or was in that circle that you said that to, I'd be like, oh, well, I don't want to go up to him. You know, so I think you should be careful on how you say that rather than, I think it should be very positive.
How about this? How about, I'm so single and I love it, but I also love men. And all of you in the room that are men, line up. It's number them off.
A good way. You're ready for when you know, God sends him to you.
How about, I'm enjoying whatever phase of life I'm in?
I love that.
Let me write that down.
Because that leaves it open.
Yeah, right.
It could be a tattoo you could get.
I'm like 99. I love being single. You're like, Phillip, quit saying that.
We're going to bingo together at the senior
B94, still single.
There are some quotes that I love that I wrote down that are fun.
Oh, good. I do love your quotes.
Oh my gosh. Here's a funny one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I don't know.
Romeo died because of Juliet. Jack died because of Rose. Get it? The Titanic.
Yeah.
Okay. Be single if you want to live. Oh my God, that's horrible. Right?
Hold on.
There it is. My level of single right now. If I stood on a cliff and yelled, "I love you," the echo would reply, "I just want to be friends." I approach it.
Laughter's going on. Guys, we're in the middle of a podcast.
And it was just me.
If you don't, the joke wasn't that good. Okay.
I go, if and now that I'm thinking of that, and I think y'all should think of this too. What would you say if someone said, you know, are you dating right now?
Yeah.
And that is good. I think so. I'm going to come up with something right now for you. I want to say I love the season I'm in. I'm always open for that, but I also want someone to complement my life, not because we can't like complete each other's lives. I think that's complete bull.
Yeah, that's Jerry Maguire bullshit.
Who's that?
That was the movie it came from. You complete
never
me.
seen it. Okay. I thought it was a guy.
It is.
Is he the guy in the movie?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I'll have to watch that. But I will. Speaking of falling asleep while breathing, that's what I every
giving
night.
You trouble
it's
today.
like falling down
all over the place.
Here, I'm going to put it on my arm.
All right, let's role play here. All right, in our final few minutes. Hey Wes.
Hey Phil.
Let's call me Jack.
Hey Jack. Did you see the game?
No, I don't watch. I'm a ballet artist. Are you dating anybody?
You know what, Jack? In this moment of time,
I need it better. Okay.
Oh my God! Well, you didn't give me time.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Wes?
Hey, Jack.
Matt, you're super sexy. Are you dating anybody?
I will if you ask me out. That voice, Phillip. That voice got me.
Okay, let's try it again. Hey, Wes. You're like, I'll be single forever.
You know, this time of my life, I'm enjoying traveling. I'm enjoying reading. I'm enjoying spa days. And yeah, I honestly, I don't know what I would say. I'm not that good on the spot.
I think that's perfect. I mean, keep it simple. Yeah. We don't want to like do a. I'm glad you asked. I've got a slideshow. If you refer behind me here. Section 1, we'll start talking about how happy I am being alone. Then we'll move into section 14, which is pictures of me on a horse. Wink, wink.
Do you remember that horse wedding I was in?
Horse wedding?
No, no, it was staged for. God, I should send you those pictures. I'd be afraid of where they'll show up. It was
horses got married.
No. It was Jerry.
Daddy's cash.
Jerry Maguire. No, it was a faux wedding, and I was supposed to be a bride. A groomsman.
Were you even in it?
Yes, I literally have the.
So you were in a fake horse wedding, and you were a bride.
It was for a Austin Bridal magazine.
Oh, you did show me this. Yeah, you're in a barn.
In a barn, there's a horse.
Yeah, there's a horse.
And then the other guys were like actual models. They got pissed because they're like,
sweating.
Oh, they're like, you're going to be the groom. And I'm like, I'm just here as a film because I knew the photographer. They're like, we need one more groomsman. And then the girl they got was blonde hair, blue eyes. So they matched me with her, and they were all Latino. They were so mad. So cute. But yeah, why did I say that?
I don't know.
Oh, we were talking about horses.
Oh, Were we?
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Are we done yet? Anyway, I'm single.
I'm happy.
Yes. And there's a lot of gratitude in this moment. And I think we get spoiled being in Nashville, like that show with Chrissy Metz and being around art and just going places alone was absolutely, it was just fulfilling.
Yeah.
You listen to the words of the songs and my still struggle though, this is what I'm going to work on, is not scrolling as much. I want to be mindful of my time I'm putting into that and actually putting my nose in a book or getting out for more walks and getting to the gym and do stuff like that. That's mine. And hopefully you all have something in your mind that you want to change this next week or month.
I hope so. And think about that question. If you knew if you're single or you're trying to get rid of your husband or whatever, if your lover was going to show up in 6 months, what would you do differently? Because I'm going to date myself. I'm taking myself out soon. Do I have to buy my own dinner?
You do. But the conversations, I'm going to tell you what, the conversations are great.
And you can't get on your phone. That's going to be our rule on our self dates. No, like Instagramming. You can do it when you get home, but you can't be sitting somewhere on your phone.
So what do you, you can take present. A magazine or something.
Yeah, but just be present. Talk to people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Talk to the waiter.
I was envisioning myself at Bricktops in a booth and then just sitting there. And not like
I'm thinking more like an active day, go to the theater, go see an art show.
Like the other night I was at the bar and that guy walked up, and super straight guy from Philly. I've always wanted to go to Philly, and he's like, "Oh, I'll be your tour guide." And I'm like, "Oh, how great is that?"
Did he wink at you when you said that?
No, very straight. His name was Mark or Mike.
It's like the girl earlier, Heather. Thank you, Heather, for inspiring him to
Heather,
remember your name.
Yeah.
All right, babe. Well, hey, we're single. We're happy. We're going to continue to be happy. Being single is a gift. That's the way we got to think about this.
Yes, and thank y'all for listening. If you have single friends, send them the podcast episode. We appreciate all the downloads. And it's just that sharing is caring and great conversations. And this episode was inspired by a few people that were like, that DM'd us like, we love being single. And the other one's like, we hate being single. So we hope it helped. We hope it helped a little, but there you go.
And just knowing that older people are single and enjoying their life, and that's fine. And I'm the older one. I'm not lumping Wes into that. He's younger.
We're in the same generation.
That's true. We're both old.
It's party.
All right, babe. Well, I've got a date on myself here in a little bit, so I'm going to head out. I hope you have a good week.
You too, boo. Love you.
All right. Love you too. Enjoy being single.
Let's do it.
Bye. Thanks for listening to another great episode of Two Bottles Deep.
Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast.
And while you're at it, write us a fabulous review.
Please reach out to us on our email, twobottlesdeep@gmail.com.
There is plenty of love in this world. Be a part of it.